Hello, and welcome to Pure Sessions with your girl Lana. Hello. No, stop. Hi. So as you can see, this is another solo episode of Pure Sessions, and this is episode 55. And this one is titled, figure to be proper or fitting, titled Life of a Content Creator, which I is, so no, but which I am. But so it really dives into different things, different aspects, like really like what is a content creator. And I pulled up some articles really that describes a content creator. I mean, you can really be your own type of content creator. There really is like no one version of a content creator. And I pulled up some articles about work progress, working, starting the day, or a day in the life of a content creator. So for me, the type of content creator that I am, or that I'm wanting to be, is really, in the beginning it really was a blogger, like putting like different quotes up and things like that, because as you guys know, I have two pages. This one, Lana Pierce Corner, which is now, I'm really just focusing on this page just to be like a motivational page with different quotes every day, whether it be like self-care, whether it be like determination, whether it be like living your life, living your purpose, or even, focusing on depression and dealing with that and having ways to have people to talk to about it, because sometimes certain topics are a little tricky for people and they don't want to touch it, but we do need to have these conversations. So that's strictly what this page is mostly focusing on, is motivational quotes daily, so people who are reading it, who are scrolling through it, can really feel like that they're not alone, that other people do go through these things. Because some of the quotes I have that I write myself, and some of the quotes that I have, people, I find them because depending on how I'm feeling that day, depending on what I want to give out that day, because whether the quotes that I pick for my audience, for my people that are following me and things like that, who are expecting them, are really how I'm feeling that day. So it's some of the quotes, like for I think like a straight week, we're just focusing on your self-worth and your self-purpose, which is a good thing. But also, sometimes we need to focus on tragedies, depression, anxiety, resistance, failure, what else? Giving up and things like that. The hard topics that people don't really want to talk about, but I feel like should be talked about, because when they're not being talked about, things can escalate and things like that. So I feel like if you are consistent with your posting, if you are consistent with giving the people what they want at the right time, then I feel like you really can't ever fail. You know what I mean? So that's what this page is about. Now, my main page, Lana Pure, that's strictly for my music. That's strictly for my episodes that you can find, Spotify, Apple, Anchor, YouTube, what else? SoundCloud, all the above, Instagram, that really are really focusing on me showcasing and showboating the artists that I have on the show. So that's why I wanted to take this week's episode and last week's episode to do solos, to kind of like reflect and regroup and kind of like just pinpoint on things that I've been going through, just do like a little check-in, because I feel like not a lot of people nowadays really check in on friends, family, co-workers, and sometimes we have to check in on ourselves. And not to be like, to sound crazy, but sometimes we're so busy going and moving that we're not really seeing if we're okay, that we're not really seeing if we're doing well. Because sometimes if you're like a content creator, you're so busy trying to put out the content to give to the audience, that you're not really saying, hey, okay, let me take a minute back, let me take a weekend off to regroup and reflect. And that's why last week I put a lot of posts up on my story about self-care, taking care of yourself, and soul care. I had an episode when I was on with 𝗄𝐿, shout out to Women's Reflections, and we were talking about soul care versus self-care. And a lot of times your soul care is really pushed to the side because we're so busy on doing self-care that it's not really talked about. And I think that's the most important thing to have catered to from time to time, is your soul. is your being, is yourself, is peace, is your harmony, is your chakra, is your aura, whatever you want to call it, that needs to be catered to as well. And for me, being the content creator, I'm trying to do different things than just say one thing. And that's why I pulled up these different articles that kind of give you a day in the life of a content creator and the different types of content creator that there are. It can be a web designer. You can be an entrepreneur, which I'm trying to be myself, trying to do different things. You can be just focusing on podcasts, fashion, websites, music, what else? Blogging, like I said, with the quotes. Like, I've checked out and read different articles and checked out different pages that people just strictly just do quotes, and that's like their life. But it really depends. You can post as many things, but it's the quality of the work that really speaks volumes. Because you can be posting a bazillion different things, and if it's not getting, nothing's changing, it's not receiving, nothing is, whatever, then you may need to tweak some things. And that's why I'm always trying to tweak the craft and tweak and talk to different people who've been doing things longer. And that's why I work with Joe at Jersey Media. Shout out to Jersey Media, 𝗄𝐿, and Therapy Without a Degree, because he's been doing this for a long time. He has insight, he has knowledge, he has what do you want to go say the word? Not what's the word? I can't think of the word. Experience. There we go. He has experience with doing these things, as being a content creator, as creating websites, as doing podcasts, as promoting, as branding, as networking, as coaching, and things like that. So if you ever do need that type of lifestyle, type of help, type of guidance, mentorship, definitely check out 𝗄𝐿, or as well as he has his own podcast that show Therapy Without a Degree, as well as his own branding and coaching and content creating site and platform at Jersey Media. It's been very helpful because I was lost. I honestly was lost. I did not know what I was doing. I was just throwing things out whenever I was throwing things out, because I didn't really know what direction that I wanted to have the show to go to, as well as my music. So for me, the type of content creator I suppose that I am is really just an entrepreneur. It's not really just one platform. Like, I do music, I'm a DJ, I play the saxophone, I have a podcast, I have my show, what else? I'm a published author. It's just different things that I do. I have my own website. It's just different things that I do, that I want to do, that that can lead the next generation to do things, to say that, hey, oh, she's doing this, she can do this, she looks just like me, but she's doing this, she's being her own independent boss. And that's the thing we have to realize, that it's if we want to build something different, or we want to build something that everybody else is doing. Like, do you want to create something that you wish existed, or do you want to create something that everybody else is doing, but you want to tweak it a little bit better? So there's different avenues and roads we can take of being a content creator, but it really depends on what type of branding you want to do, what type of networking you want to do, and how you want your platform to look. Like, if you want to just be a blogger, okay, blog the right content, blog current content, keep it consistent, put it on right platforms. Because when I was talking with Joe, he said there's an algorithm to everything, whatever platform you're on, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. There's ways to go about it. There's times to post, there's times not to post. There's times when you're doing too much, there's times when you're doing less, and there's the right type of content that people want to see. Not just the random stuff, but it's like the right content, whether it's like with music, posting a little cameo video, or posting a lyric or two of your song that you wrote or that you're working on, or even, showing pictures of you in the studio, showing pictures of you on the computer or the album, like just showing that you are working behind the scenes, but just showing the people that, hey, you can do this too if you put the work in. You know what I mean? So the first article that I pulled up is A Day in the Life of a Content Creator. And it's really just, she talks about having a privilege, working and doing what she loves. That's what it's really about. Doing something that you love to do. And at times, down the road, you can make money off of it. But in the meantime, between time, you're doing something that's a passion that you love, that's a dream that you've always wanted to do, and making it larger than life. So for her, or in general, for starting her day, she says, content creation doesn't begin when I get into the office. In fact, it starts earlier than you would think. She says she wakes up around 6:30 and gets started for the day. She looks at her RSS feed while she's eating breakfast. So what she says is, and this is important too as well, as a content creator, it is essential for me to stay on top of all the latest innovations to stay current. Meaning, if you're doing music or blogging, staying current on what's out, what people are listening to, people are attracted to, what's catchy, and things like that. So like she says, so depending on which topic I'm writing on, I create an RSS feed and have a quick read in the morning. If something's particularly caught my eye and has given me a source of inspiration, then I'll jot it down. That's what I do as well too. If I'm going throughout the day or scrolling through things, looking up different articles, and I say, oh, that looks interesting, or that's something I would say, or that looks powerful, let me write it down and bring it back up later. Then propose it as an idea to my colleagues a little bit later once I've got to work and done a little bit more research. And then she goes on to talk about commuting. For me, I'm home doing all these things, but you can be in the office, you can be at a friend's house, you can be at a library, you can be in the park. And that's why I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, some of the episodes you've seen recently, I'm trying to be in different areas and not just be in one spot. Because sometimes if you're in the same room or the same section or the same house or whatever you want to call it, and not in a different environment, some of the juices can kind of get stale. So it is always nice to kind of, move around and kind of see things clearly so you can have a different perspective on things. So it says for here, onto the creating. She says, personally, I feel that I am my most creative and on the ball in the mornings, but this can be different for anyone. So for anyone who is looking for a career in content creation, jot down when you feel the most productive and prioritize your task accordingly. So like for me, I get the most inspiration when I'm playing music or writing music or creating music or playing my saxophone. And it could be about different things. It could be about a quote that I heard somebody say or something that happened during the day that I'm like, oh, this seems like somebody else could hear this or benefit from this. Let me write that down. Or sometimes it will be in the evening when I'm watching TV or reading a book, which I need to get back to doing. And I'm like, oh, this would be a great thing to post, this passage, because I have my daily daily affirmations that I read daily. And I've shown this book a couple times on the show, The Daily Dose, 365 Days to a Healthy Soul. So I read that daily, and I'll post maybe a quote from here onto my story. So depending on what I'm feeling that day or what the topic is for that day, I'll post something like that. And a lot of the quotes in here are more so Bible verses. Like one page is more grace, another page is God is your helper, and then it gives you different Bible verses. And then this author talks about her experiences and getting closer to God and things like that. And it's by 𝗄𝐿, and it's very good. They have different daily affirmations, daily readings and things like that, but I like this one because it deals with healing your soul and coming closer to God and things like that. And the second article I have, there's a ton of different articles that you can read in the life of a content creator, things that you need to be a content creator, things that is helpful that you need to be content creating. For me, I mentioned before, it's really just what I use is the headphones, the mic, my phone, my tripod that it's on, and the laptop. You work with what you have, whether you're doing a podcast, whether you're a photographer, whether you do music, whether you have your own studio, or whether you have your own professional camera, and as well as it's all about the lighting too. If you have expensive lighting, it's all about how you set the scene that draws people in. Like for me, since I do everything at home, I work with what I have and try to make it special. But there are some people that I've followed and that I've talked to and who have been doing this longer than I have. They have a whole studio, they have the headphones, they have guests on currently, they have the lights, they have their own logo, which I do have as well, but it's like shown in the background or things like that. Like you work with what you have and make it special. And I feel like once you get to a level of you have good followers, a level of you have good product, good ideas, good content, then I think the money will flow. Like for me, people, in my opinion, going into content creating or being an entrepreneur and really only just focusing on the money, eventually it will come if you work hard to get there. I know it sounds like a cliche, work hard, play hard, but for me, it used to be about, oh my God, I want to do all this because I want to make money. But now it's like to the point where I just enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy doing the show. I enjoy playing music. And yes, the money is slim in that area for now. But the bottom line is I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. And in the beginning, I never thought that I would want to be a content creator. I never thought I would do a podcast. I knew that I love music, and I knew that in some aspect, in some way that I wanted to work with music, but I just didn't know where I wanted to do it, whether I wanted to be an artist, musician, singer, playing the saxophone or whatever instrument, or DJing or things like that. That I knew I loved, but I didn't know if I wanted to be the front side, which is DJing and making music, or being behind the scenes, which is in the studio, being an engineer and producer. I didn't know that until I worked and tried different things, and I was like, oh, hey, this is kind of cool. I could do this. This is fun. There are other females who are doing this, and there are other people who look like me doing this. Let me try this out. And then it turned out to be something beautiful, because creating music, I feel like, for me at least, when I create my songs or when I'm in the studio or working on something, that I think it's a beautiful thing that you can create something that people can dance to or feel good about themselves to, or just love to, or stream to, because I feel like that's what it's all about when you're creating music or creating something different to put out there, is that people can in a way grab onto it, whether it's music, whether it's a quote, whether it's an episode, whether it's a merch, or whatever you want to call it. I feel like it's a beautiful thing when you have not the power, but when you have the capacity to do that, to make somebody's day, or to make that person think or dig deeper than what's on the surface. You know what I mean? And also, when you're doing the content creating, I feel like have fun with it too. It doesn't always have to be, so serious. It doesn't have to be so, oh my God, like this is that, I do this on Tuesday, I do this on Wednesday, I can't do anything else but this. Yes, you do need to focus on what you're doing, but you can also have fun with it as well. And I feel like once you get your niche, I think it comes easily. It comes a little bit not as complicated. So another article that I pulled up is, how do you approach the launch of new networks and things like that? Like trying different networks. Like if you want to try your content on, say, just Instagram strictly, how do you approach that? Because social media is a jungle. Or if you want to do on TikTok, how do you approach that? Or do you want to do on Twitter, which is a little bit different? How do you go about that? Or even go old school and go back to Facebook, and how do you do that? Things like that. So, what does this say? One of the people here says they take a beat and considers whether the new network is right for him. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And says, when it comes to new networks, what I always say is, does it work for what you're doing? Like I mentioned earlier, does TikTok work for what you are wanting to do? If you're a blogger, does TikTok work for that? If you're an artist, does TikTok work for that? Can you produce great content on it, or at least have fun trying? Because TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube are all different platforms. So even though you're posting this content, even though you're new to the game, can you at least have fun with it too? And it says if it blows up, amazing. If not, you had fun. And you made a few people smile, and that's great too. And that's what I've always said too, especially with the show. Even in the beginning when I first started doing them live, I would only have like 5 or 6 viewers on the live. But later when I posted it, there would be more views. So that's what I had to think about. I didn't have like 100 viewers on with me, or 100 guests on with me. But I said to myself, oh, well, maybe 2 or 3 people are seeing this. That made their day. So I'm happy about that. What is another thing? Oh, here's another one. How do you approach new types of content that networks releases, like reels or live streams? They're saying there are new types of networks and features being released frequently. Many creators will wait until they see a positive response to make them a part of the content schedule. So with that being said I'll say that again. Many creators wait until they see a positive response to make them a part of their content schedule. So like if you do reels on Instagram, and you posted about self-confidence or self-awareness or self-love, and this is on Instagram, and you get 500 views or 500 plays, that's great, but you can do better. Versus if you go to TikTok, say the same thing, but add different hashtags, and you get 3,000 plays and 25 likes, then that's something to think about. Because like I said earlier, there are different algorithms and things like that. And it's also about the hashtags too that you use that gravitate towards people. Sometimes you'll see the same hashtags used over and over and over and over again on different quotes, or different posts, excuse me. But it's all about the hashtags. They always say to use between 25 and 30 hashtags. Well, 30 is max, but a good 25 hashtags. And sometimes you can have the hashtags capitalized, more likely have it lowercase, and use words that people know and can gravitate towards, like quotes of the day, motivational Tuesdays, love, art, music, blogger, public figure, entrepreneur, potent words like that catch the eye. Not like just like Cupcake Tuesday or, sessions of jam, like, just words that you see people use that are in your post that can also be in the hashtags as well. What else does this say? Another person says they love that networks introduce new types of content, such as reels, not just lives and things like that. Because sometimes when you can just be on a reel and you can just talk about like random things or be dancing and just showing the audience that you can have fun, that's a beautiful thing as well. Let's see, what else does it say? Somebody said, I feel like there is so much noise already, and at times I get socially fatigued. Too many platforms to follow and not enough time to watch everything. I prefer reels over stories because I can always catch up when I have time. I agree. I'll say that again. I feel like there is so much noise already, and at times I get socially fatigued. Too many platforms to follow and not enough time to watch everything. I prefer reels over stories because I can always catch up when I have time. I agree. I'm a fan of reels over stories because unless they save it for 24 hours, you can't catch it. And unless you're not like a social media buff, you'll miss it. But reels are always there. They're always between 30 to 60 seconds, and they're always something like somebody dancing, somebody promoting something, somebody branding something, somebody singing, and they're always just fun and just cute stuff. And that's the one reason why I like TikTok with their reels, because everything I've seen so far is always just a fun, happy thing. I've never seen really not a bad reel, but one that didn't, like, I didn't feel like I was just scrolling. Like, everything I've seen always piques my interest, or I've watched multiple times. So I think it also really depends on how long it is and what you're doing in the reel, because as well as I remember Joe told me that if you're going to do a reel on TikTok and post it on Instagram, the algorithms, it messes things up. It doesn't you won't get a lot of response because you're using a different platform, using one platform on a different platform, versus if you do the same thing on Instagram, talking about the same thing, but you use the Instagram reels, you'll see a bigger progress. You'll see a better feedback. And again, it's about the hashtags too and what you're saying, short and quick, because people's attention spans are really like that. You know what I mean? So another post here says, how has the recent release of TikTok Reels and or live streams changed your influencer campaigns? So it says, brands now look for content on these new platforms, and they can make the selection of influencer campaigns limited if you are not yet using or do not plan on using any of these platforms. It can be a good way to get outside of the box, to try something new and see if it works for you. So that's the thing I suggest too, trying something different than just the same thing. Like I said, using TikTok Reels, lives, using Instagram Reels, live story posts, just doing different things. Or even sometimes if you're going to do quotes, post it on Twitter, take a picture of it, and post your tweet from Twitter on Instagram. They don't have a problem with that because you're still using Instagram. It's just more so like a picture, but in the picture it will have your Twitter tweet and something different. It just shows that you're using the different platforms and you're using what you're trying to say in the right way, if that makes sense. What is another one? What are some tips you have for other content creators who are adapting to new networks and network releases? So it says, rather than looking at these new network and network releases, it can be helpful for content creators to look at this as an opportunity to find new ways to show their personality to a new audience. Thinking about what new opportunities a platform can provide is important, and figuring out how to balance the different types of social media. Say that again. Rather than looking at these new network and network releases, it can be helpful for content creators to look at this as an opportunity to find new ways to show their personality to a new audience. Thinking about what new opportunities a platform can provide is important in figuring out how to balance the different types of social media. So like I said earlier, it's important to know what to put on what platform. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, SoundCloud, they're all different platforms, even though they're all social media apps. They all do different things, and they all get different feedback, and they all get different reviews. So it's up to you to know what to post, when to post, where to put it at, and see if the feedback is working on which platform. Because if you keep putting out the same content, or you keep putting out content after content after content, and you only get maybe 20 likes and 25 views, then maybe you should do something different, or maybe you should use a different platform to say what you have to say, because maybe the feedback there is different. Because like I said, social media is a jungle, and sometimes people don't want to see you doing well because they feel like, well, I can do the same thing, but I'm not doing it, so I'm not going to show them love, versus everybody showing respect for people hustling and grinding and trying to do better for themselves. So you got to keep that in mind too. Oh, this is important too. What are some positive and negatives about being a content creator in this day and age? Some of the positives of being a content creator is having a platform to share your voice. You have the opportunity to try new products, meet new people, and gain new experiences. They can also share a variety of images, videos, perspectives, and ideas. When producing content, creators have fun finding creative ideas to deliver positive results for their clients and readers. That is the positive. Now, they don't show the negative, so I guess there's no negative here. I don't see a negative. Oh, here we go. There are definitely negatives out there. You are sharing a big part of who you are to strangers. That's one. There's also this expectation that you have to share every single thing about your life with your audience, which can be very stressful. I agree. Let's face it, we are just people, and we don't have a lot of drama every day like other people. I agree. It is, and it's also about finding your niche. I do agree. Social media and being a content creator is stressful. There are positives and negatives. There is the positive of finding new things to create and posting it and sharing it with people, as well as talking about something that you're passionate about and sharing it with the world. But there's also that negative stress factor where you have to be in the limelight every day. If you're not posting something that's worth looking at, you feel like you have to keep competing. And it does, and it can get stressful because it's like a full-time job, because you have to keep producing every day, keep producing new content, new visuals, new videos, new music, new whatever, to keep your audience there. Because once you slack for about a day or two, they're on to the next thing, because like I said, their attention spans are not long, because people always want to see something new. They don't want to see the same thing. And once you keep working at it and keep working at it and keep working at it, and you have between like 25,000 followers to like 100,000 followers, then you can afford to be like, okay, I'm not going to post for a week, and then pop back up like a week later, and then they're like, oh my god, where has she been, where has he been? And then you get like 25,000 likes. But you have to get to that level. You have to get to that point of being able to be like, I can take a break for a minute because I have enough content out, I have that good quality content out, that I don't need to stress about, oh my god, I didn't post today, what shall I do, did I lose a follower? So it's stressful. And again, it's all about finding your niche, like they said. So I feel like once you find your niche on what platforms to use, once you find what you love doing, and that passion comes out, I think you'll be fine. I think you yourself can be an entrepreneur, content creator, and share something great with the world. That's just my opinion. But yeah, guys, that is about it for this episode. This was A Life of a Content Creator featuring your girl, 𝗏𝗏. This is episode 55. And you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube at 𝗏𝗏. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode and enjoy these tips and articles as well too. And I'll post a few in the description. But yeah, guys, that's about it. But do something today that you didn't do the day before, and have a great, great day.